The Smash roster is one of my favourite parts of the entire Smash series, with the inclusions of new fighters every installment. Never knowing who's going to be added into Smash 6, some fighters don't make it in, either being deconfirmed from Mii costumes, assist trophies, or other fighters taking the spot, as well as a few other things. Welcome to A New Foes Appeared, where we talk about ideas for fighters that could possibly happen in Smash 6, if not the future. I'm your host, BB8 from BB8 House. Let's get into it. Up next. Hey there, YouTube lovers. Welcome to A New Foes Appeared. I'm your host, BB8, as always. And is it just me, or is it just gone silent and feels like a cave all of a sudden? Come on, it's the 50th episode. We're supposed to, pump things up here. We are gonna pump things up, because this episode of A New Foe Has Appeared, I've wanted to do this character for a long time. Ever since I've talked about Doomslayer, I've wanted to talk about this character. So, without further ado, for the moment you've all been waiting for, the 50th New Foes Appeared is...
Yes! 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 We're going home! Oh, welcome back, Chief. I rerouted what little power I had into your suit. Looks like there's a problem with the servos in your hands. Stay calm. You've been out there a while. I know I saw something in here to check your armor's diagnostics. Whoa, easy there, big guy. You're not...
Status report.
Status report? What? There's something you need to see, Chief. We lost everything. There's nothing left for us here. I don't think we're here is.
That's right. Master Chief from Halo is who we're going to talk about today. This character I've wanted to talk about for a long time. I wanted to talk about him before I talked about Doom Guy, but he ended up losing the vote, so I thought, why not save Master Chief for the 50th episode of A New Foe Has Appeared. I know I've talked about two Microsoft characters in a row, the previous episode being Tracer, but don't forget, I ordered The New Foe Has Appeared before Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard. So, without further ado, let's get into the moveset, shall we? Before we dive into Master Chief's moveset, I would like to dive into Master Chief's two mechanics, being weapon swap and ammunition. So weapon swap being Master Chief, unlike any other character in Smash, having two different movesets that he can swap between in battle, ignoring Pokemon Trainer and Pyra and Mithra, because they're multiple characters, not one. Similar to how I talked about Diva and Mecha, like a while ago now. Master Chief starts the battle with his Spartan weapons, which are lighter and reload quickly, but
but deal less damage and knockback. Pressing down B will allow Master Chief to swap out his Spartan gear for his Covenant weapons. His Covenant weapons usually have a bit more lag to them and take longer to recharge, but deal out more damage and knockback. As for standard attacks, Spartan attacks usually allow another unique option to them and can cover more ground, while Covenant weapons are deadly up close melee type attacks. Switching between the gear is essential to scoring KOs. So Master Chief can build up damage quickly with Spartan gear, but deal less knockback, or he can take time to build up damage with Covenant gear, but deliver knockback moves faster. So for ammunition, for both Master Chief's standard and special attacks, they require ammunition, which is represented by the icons above his health percentage meter. And both weapons deal different damage output, and both have different lag time for reloading. Reloading occurs automatically, either when you press B after running out of ammo, or when down B is pressed. So for Master Chief's first moveset, being his Spartan artillery moveset, his neutral B being the Spartan rifle. Master Chief takes out his iconic MA5 Spartan Great Assault Rifle and fires a flurry of shots forward. Chief gets 30 rounds of ammunition with his rifle, and the rifle can fire off about 3 rounds per second. His assault rifle is a weapon that deals more damage the closer it is. 1% damage is within 15 feet, 0.5% is within 16.25 feet, and in-game feet measurements. And when Chief goes to reload his ammunition, it takes about 2.5 seconds for him to reload. And the downside is that while using the rifle, is that when you're using it in the air or on the ground, it halts Chiefs in his tracks. And when pressing B, he also will remain firing for at least 4 seconds if you simplify tap and not hold B, which can leave open for attack. The rounds do not deal any knockback damage, but can be good for dishing out damage quickly. And for the side special being Spartan Grenade, Master Chief takes out a Spartan Issue Grenade and lobs it forward in an arc. The animation is similar to Snake's standard special, but Master Chief can only toss 1 grenade at a time. Along with this, it has slightly longer reach and explodes on contact with anything. Though it doesn't have strong knockback to low damage enemies, it is enough to build damage from a distance before going for a kill, and has a smoother recharge than the sticky grenade. For the up special and the down special don't really change when you swap movesets. So the jump pack, Master Chief activates his jetpack and propels himself high in the air, about as high as Samus's recovery special. As he ascends, you can press B to fire straight ahead with the Spartan rifle. This uses up ammo, of course, but peppers opponents in front of you. With blasts while you ascend, after hitting his peak height, Chief can use his aerial attacks as he descends downward. And swap artillery is where Master Chief swaps out his rifle for carrying a Covenant Needler weapon. Pressing down B makes Master Chief swap out his weaponry for Covenant weapons. The final smash I will probably come to last, but let's now get into, of course, the Covenant artillery. And now for his Covenant artillery. So his neutral B, being Needler, Master Chief takes out his infamous Covenant Type 33 guided munitions launcher, more commonly known as the Needler. With the Needler, you only get 20 rounds and the needles fire about 2 per second. However, where they lack in speed compared to assault rifle, they make up in versatility. The Needler shots have a homing effect to them that is about the same range as Palatina's autoritical. And once a Needler shot hits an opponent, it stays in them visually for a few moments. After a few moments of sticking in the opponent for about 5 seconds, the shots give off a small explosion that is less deadly to low damage opponents, but can be difficult to avoid and give decent knockback to high damage opponents. Unlike in Halo, these shots can actually be passed onto opponents by passing by them. And an opponent whose needle shots are exploding will not take additional damage from the needle shots. For a few moments as they receive the knockback, the Needler shots seek out a wide range of opponents in the aiming field, so you cannot control which target is hit when multiple are nearby. Master Chief cannot move from his firing pose when using the Needler, so be careful not to leave yourself open, because the Needler is deadly but takes about 5 seconds to reload, and the Needler, when it runs out of ammo, which can leave him wide open to punishment from opponents. And for the side special, being the Sticky Plasma Grenade, Master Chief takes out his Covenant Type 1 anti-personnel grenade, more commonly known as the Sticky Plasma Grenade. Chief lobs it forward at a wide arc. This grenade is slower through the air than Snake's grenade or Chief's Spartan grenade. Where it lacks in speed, though it makes up for a uniqueness, with the Sticky Grenade travelling the farthest out of all these grenades, and once it hits an opponent, it will stick to them for a few moments before exploding. And this explosion deals the most damage of all the grenade types, and you can touch another opponent while a sticky grenade is latched on to pass it to another opponent. But the only difference here with the swap artillery, the up special's the same, is Master Chief swaps out his Covenant Needler weapon back to his rifle. And now for the final smash, being the M12 Light Reconnaissance Warthog. Master Chief takes out a sniper rifle and fires a massive blast forward that instantly suspends opponents in an immovable state for a moment. If you successfully land the sniper shot, Master Chief tosses the weapon, being him, and calls out, "I need a weapon," as the opponents are being frozen, and the M12 Warthog vehicle comes crashing to where Chief is standing. A short cinematic zooms into Chief on the stage as he climbs onto the boards, the Warthog, and takes aim at the suspended opponents with his anti-aircraft Gatling gun. Master Chief sends out a flurry of blasts from the gun at the opponents. After that, he gets off the Warthog and grabs the tire of the massive vehicle. He picks up the Warthog and tosses it at the closest suspended opponent. As it explodes on impact, this explosion deals additional damage and knockback. So it is possible to have one opponent caught that takes more damage and knockback than the rest of the others are far away. As the opponents are sent flying, Chief takes out his rifle or needler and says, "That will do nicely." So for the alts and the Kirby hat, Master Chief's different colour options are based on the variants of the power armour that can be chosen in Halo's online multiplayer. So number 1 being Classic Master Chief, and the colours red, blue, yellow, white, black, purple and brown. The Kirby hat, with Kirby getting a copy of Master Chief's helmet and wears it just like he wears his copy of Samus's helmet. Along with that, he gets a copy of either the rifle or needler, depending on which is in use when he is inhaled after the ammunition is out for the copy ability. And Kirby loses the helmet after he goes back to normal. And for the stage being Halo out of Halo Combat Evolved. When the UNSC pillar of Autumn arrived at Alpha Halo, also known as Installation 04, the Covenant was already there to welcome them. The conflict that followed raged across the surface of the Ringworld, eventually pitting the renowned and battle-hardened ODSTs against the merciless Covenant assault, which would stop at nothing to control Halo. Now our fighters find themselves in the middle of that same assault. Halo is a transitioning stage and circles around the mysterious Forerunner structure as players begin the battle within a small walled area, and there is a ramp that leads up to the platform home to a structure that can be stood on. A few grunts may find their way into the area and will fire at the players. They can be KO'd fairly easily, and eventually a Pelican drop ship will fly down, allowing players to jump onto it. After a moment or two, the Pelican will soar into the air, taking players with it and leaving those who did not get on board, causing them to be KO'd. The Pelican will make a quick trip around the area, allowing players to get a glimpse of the battle. ODSTs and Covenant forces are locked in a seemingly never-ending battle. The Pelican will eventually drop players off at the stage's second location, a flat area with a few large boulders. The boulders can be stood on and act as drop through platforms in the BG players will get a good view of the Forerunner beam emitter structure where the ODSTs fight to keep their high ground. While fighting here, a Covenant elite may spot the players and head their way. Elites are fairly tough. They dodge the attacks and can be turned invisible before striking with their energy sword, and after a while the Pelican will drop and deploy the players to the next area. This area is close to the cliffside and is sloped. A large boulder allows for a secondary platform at the top of the slope. And at the bottom of the slope is the cliffside, allowing players to fall off. It is here that jackals may appear using energy shields, and they will be protected by many direct attacks. Players will have to break their shields first or attack from behind, as jackals will attack using needlers, firing several shots into players before the shards detonate, knocking them back. The Pelican will eventually return and take players to the final drop point of the stage, to the Forerunner structure itself, specifically to the deck surrounding the beam emitter. This section is home to a box-like structure that can be stood on, and players can drop through the deck itself to the ground below. Here, any of the three different Covenant forces can appear to cause trouble, and after some time has passed, the Pelican will return one last time to shuttle players back to where the first area is.
So Master Chief's classic mode route would be called Combat Evolved, as a reference to the subtitle of the first Halo game. In the classic mode route, Master Chief will face off gunner characters and monster-like creatures. So, round 1, Samus, which does turn to Zero Suit Samus when KO'd. Round 2 being Fox and Falco. Round 3 being Bowser. Round 4 Snake. Round 5 Bayonetta. Round 6 being Ridley. And the final boss being Galeum. So the victory pose and theme, Master Chief's victory theme would be the theme song for Halo, playing until you leave the victory screen. But similar to Joker, where the announcer doesn't call his name, instead, Cortana comes to congratulate him once he's finished his pose. So the defeat pose, where Master Chief claps for the opponent while hanging his head downward in defeat. So the victory pose 1, Master Chief falls heroically from the sky and lands fist into the ground on his knees, where he stands triumphantly and looks into the distance with his rifle at his side, saying, "I'm finishing the fight." Victory pose 2, Master Chief takes a knee and aims his rifle forward, then behind him before aiming beside the camera while saying, "Threat neutralized." And finally, victory pose 3, Master Chief can be seen talking to the hologram of Cortana, and Chief says, "Mission complete, Cortana. Let's head back to base." And for the spirits, being Master Chief, the fighter spirit, the M12 Light Reconnaissance Roadhog, Cortana, Velvedam, the Arbiter, Halo Array, M6 Spartan Laser, the Bubble Shield, the Flood, Sergeant Johnson, the Grunts, the Elites, the Brutes, the Prophet of Truth, the Prometheans, and the Noble Team 6, consisting of Carter, Kat, Emil, George, and Rookie. So for the reveal trailer, it starts off with no slash animation at the beginning of the trailer, making viewers believe that when they first watch the trailer, that it's a new Star Fox game. And the trailer shows Fox, Falco, Peppy Hare, and Slippy all in a battle, but then a mysterious ship flies in, which viewers would probably think the ship belongs to the main villain of the game, with multiple firings going to Fox's ship, and as Fox's ship eventually breaks, it crashes down onto a planet, and when Fox hops out of the ship, he looks around and sees things he hasn't seen before. Fox's crew talk to him over a radio and check if he is alright. And as he is talking to the others, he looks in the distance and sees the rings around Halo. And then some mysterious blasts come out of nowhere, and then when Fox backflips over the mysterious figure, he is eventually knocked out, and the mysterious figure is revealed to be Master Chief Evolves the Combat. So guys, what did you think of the 50th episode of A New Foe Has Appeared being Master Chief? Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss another New Foe Has Appeared in the future. And next, I'm talking about... That's right. Without saying the name of the character, that is who we're talking about next. I know this has been the longest New Foe Has Appeared I've done in a while, because I remember the one I did for Ryu Hayabusa was about half an hour long, and this New Foe Has Appeared episode almost making it to that point. So I will see you all in a future New Foe Has Appeared. BB-8 out.